just a little bit about our moderator, Director Gary Kremen of Valley Water. But before that, he's an engineer of more than 30 years of experience, starting and mentoring companies that change people's lives. So this man has impact. He invented online dating and started Match.com and growing it where he was responsible for an untold number, millions of babies. And among other companies, he was involved in Clean Power Finance, now Spruce Finance, a leading provider of solar energy to residences, and also founded Pace Avenue, which received a US DOE Sunshot grant to drive adaptation of solar and energy efficiency to lower and moderate income households. And I could go on and on with Director Kremen, but working alphabetically, I'm on to Aaron Tartakovsky, co-founder and CEO of Epic CleanTec. You saw him yesterday. So Epic is a San Francisco-based sustainability startup redefining how cities manage their water resources, and he's going to tell you more about that. If I said I was working alphabetically, so I have to go to Derrick. Derrick Du of IoTank has managed multiple products from design to production that have been successfully deployed and continue to remain deployed today. His experience working on products in hazardous development environments, that's space, and products built for mass manufacturing. And Derrick's looking to take his previous experiences and build a sustainable solution that may transform the world. Although, how many babies will be born, Derrick? That's what I ask. So, Galen O'Toole is an environmental engineer at Intrinsyx Environmental and a lifelong student of biomimicry and nature-based solutions and environmental systems. He's been more than 5 years as a project manager developing a novel water treatment technologies and portable reuse, wastewater, and desalinization, presenting work in membrane treatment and potable reuse at national and international conferences. If the name is familiar, it's because Galen was a management fellow at Valley Water. You might have actually run into Gary Kremen, where he directed a research program developing novel treatment alternatives to safely discharge reverse osmosis concentrate. So, which is a key issue, both all over the place, even a bigger issue with utilities that are inland. So anyway, he's working on that, and then getting into, has also investigated electrochemical alternatives, as well as phytoremediation and actually my new word, rhizofiltration, through both floating treatment wetlands and subsurface flow engineered wetlands. So boy, Galen's going to talk to you about probiotic plants and things. And then lastly, and the video's up, we have Michael Flynn. And as he says, he is not under any indictments or anything anymore. He's Michael Flynn he's the other one, the Michael Flynn of NASA, and now a chief technology officer of WH2O Systems, and with over 25 years of experience in development of advanced life support systems, astrobiology, and all kinds of things that he got him into forward osmosis at NASA Ames. I'm sorry, Michael, I'm combining bios from things that we took offline. So anyway, as I said, I'm getting off this and giving it over to Director Kremen.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone. It's 5 o'clock on a Friday. The fact that you're here and we actually still have 25 attendees, that's amazing. I think we should hand out an acre-foot of water to everyone. What do you think? So in any case, before I get into it, I actually want to thank our host today, who's the favorite NGO, I believe, of Valley Water. I'd like to kind of promote you guys. Okay, so Aaron, it's always been tough being an A because you're always called in first. What do you think? Why do you think how are businesses and cities doing managing, their water resources? Do you see this as a place where more collaboration can take place, or do you think it's a lost cause?
So we're talking about cities specifically?
Yeah. What do you think? Anyone?
Yeah, look, I think cities are doing a good job. I think just to build off of the last panel, I think the water industry fundamentally has partly a marketing problem. Not enough people know just how hard wastewater folks work 24/7 to make sure that water comes out the tap and that when wastewater is flushed down the toilet, it is safely disposed of. So I'll say that I think we are doing a great job, but there's room to do things a lot differently. I think San Francisco, as an example where I am, is doing really cutting edge things with decentralized, or I should say on-site water reuse and treatment. I think there's massive potential for innovation, and I think cities, frankly, it's where we're focused, and I think it's where a lot more can be done because, frankly, cities can move a lot quicker. I think cities can make decisions faster than you would see on the state or on the federal level.
Why do you think it's harder for others to adopt? Do you think it's because the water industry tends to be more conservative than other industries?
I mean, it's definitely more conservative, but for a reason. I think, unlike other industries, some of the industries you've worked in, fundamentally, wastewater folks are protecting public health. So you can't make the same types of decisions and risks as you can in other industries. We're working with, public money. You have to be careful about betting on new innovations when you are dealing with people and trusting you with those funds. I think it is risk averse. I think things do move more slowly, but I think, just as an example for Epic CleanTec, our customers are not municipalities, they're not utilities. We're working with real estate developers and plumbing contractors who do make much quicker decisions, not, 7-year budget cycles.
Yeah. So what do you think, Galen? What about your company? What are you guys doing to improve groundwater and environmental conditions around sensitive watersheds? That's number one. It's a little bit about your company. And number two, you think the water industry is too conservative, moves too slow?
Both good questions. Let me start off with a short bit on our company.
Let's do the propaganda.
Yeah, of course. We focus on using plants, trees, and microbes to clean water and soil. So to put it in a nutshell, we plant trees and other plants on contaminated sites or for stormwater or wastewater treatment. And we inoculate them with microbes that live inside the plants and add resilience to those plants and degrade several categories of contaminants, including persistent legacy contaminants, PCBs, 1,4-dioxane, TCE. We can pull these out of the groundwater directly with trees and plants and degrade them down to mineral form.
And who's this important to? I'm really curious.
This is important to everybody.
Who's the customer?
Our customers, a lot of them are Superfund sites, redevelopment efforts on contaminated sites. We have some municipalities, specifically wastewater treatment, some stormwater, some oil and gas customers cleaning up old sites. It's really a wide range, and our offerings our technology can be customized to most wastewater or contaminated sites across the country.
What about wastewater people? Are they wild and crazy partiers, or are they a little bit conservative?
So, as Aaron was saying, we definitely have a lot faster traction with private sector, with companies, specifically redevelopment efforts, and companies that have to meet regulator demands to clean up a site. But
Because they have a profit motive and others don't, or not really?
they either have profit motive or they have a penalty motive from the regulators. But yeah, we notice that agencies are a little slower. They want to see, in general, more research, more examples on the ground before they're willing to adopt. That said, I think a lot of smaller agencies are more willing to try something new, or try something that is, has good examples, but maybe isn't widely vetted across hundreds of sites.
All right. Well, that's interesting. What do you think, Derrick? What do you got today, and what do you think of the water industry? Happy you're in it, or want to go in the consumer internet?
Am I doing a self-pitch now first? No, I actually think, the water industry has a lot of regulations in place, similar to what Aaron was saying, that they're in place, they're there for a reason. And there's a lot of impacts to water that can happen downstream. For example, on one of the earlier presentations yesterday, they were talking about how they found COVID strains from COVID that was outside of California in a lot of California's wastewater. And how does that happen? Who really knows? There's something that happens in the middle. But you can see that the downstream impacts of how water is carrying all these different things really makes a big difference. And those regulations are, like I said, there for a reason in a lot of ways. I think the water industry in general has a big push to gather a lot more data. And that's going to be key in understanding more about, what's happening, understanding that gray area, like what I was saying, like how that COVID actually came to be from out of state into California, and things like that. And that push will help with regulations, will help with efficiencies in the ecosystem. It'll be useful.
All right. What about you? Do you think people are more happy if their power goes out, or their water doesn't work, or there's a wastewater overflow in their street?
Well, if there's a water overflow or if their water doesn't work, they can't drink, and I think you need water more than you need power.
Okay, that's why they care about water.
Or you might just end up smelling really bad.
Right, people don't like that, especially voters. What about you, Mr. Flynn? What do you think? Tell us about what you have, and tell us about the water industry. Happy you're in the water industry, or wish you did something else with your life? You're on mute.
People realize that water is one of the most inflationary commodities around today. It has a higher inflation rate than energy. I think the only commodity that you generally spend money on that has a higher inflation rate is medical spending right now. Most large cities have inflation rates of water and sewer in the 5 to 10%. Some places have as high as 20% inflation rates. So that creates a real opportunity for private companies to get involved and to kind of provide services to them. The majority of those inflation rates is associated with digging up pipe and replacing pipe, and there's really no way around that. So if you have a community where the ratepayers pay the predominant burden for the cost of maintaining these very complex systems, you're going to have a high inflation rate. And that has an impact on development. It prevents development. And companies like myself, and there's a lot of other companies that are in the same bailiwick, are providing services directly to the private sector so that they do not have to be dependent upon their local water and sewer providers. So I think that's a big transitional change. It's going to shake up the market a lot. It's going to shake up the industry a lot as times go forward. It's impossible to predict what the outcome of that will be. But I think it's kind of similar to what happened to the telephone industry, 20, 30 years ago, that we may see a very different world in the future than what we see right now.
Do you actually think that's a good analogy? Because, well, that's really complicated about, water being tough because of conveyance and digging up pipes. All right, so a lot going on in the industry. So Aaron, actually everyone answered this question. How's COVID affecting the water industry as you see it? And is it good for your business or bad for your business? What do you think?
So
Go first, you're the A.
It's a bit of a complicated question. I mean, I think on the purely business front for us, we're working with real estate developers. So I think for sort of the first few months of COVID, we had projects that were stalled. We couldn't have people going on to construction sites. That's kind of one side of it. On the other side, in the early days of COVID, there was a concern about us and our teams working with wastewater. In our case, not only with the wastewater, but we actually pull these solids out of the wastewater, repurpose them into high quality biosolid products. So there was a lot of concern around all of that. But what COVID's allowed us to do is to really hone in on other offerings that we're developing. To be able to use wastewater as...
Could I get COVID from your stuff?
Sorry?
Could I get COVID from it?
You would not get COVID. You would not get COVID with us because you would be covered in PPE because health and safety is at the top of our list. But you know, I think we're sort of going deep into that whole world of wastewater as an epidemiological tool. So we're actually looking at every single one of our deployments into a high-rise in downtown San Francisco or any big city being used as an early detection point. You know, we're doing a lot of sort of district scale, community scale, but why not put it into a building where you have 750 apartments with all tech workers in a single area? So it's posed challenges, but honestly, I think it's actually it's increased the profile of what we can do with wastewater. It's, you know, helping people to realize that the waste in wastewater isn't really waste, and there's a lot more interesting things we can do. And frankly, you know, a lot of companies that have gotten attention during this moment, like BioBot, or a lot of the other companies who are sort of using their testing methodologies.
So have you pivoted your business model a little bit?
I wouldn't say pivoted. I think we've just expanded what it is that we can do.
And just so the audience, you know, because it is Friday at 5 o'clock, give us that one paragraph, you know, pretend we're investors. What's your elevator pitch right now?
Yeah, well, so look, a lot of the things that we're talking about that Michael was just talking about, we've designed water, wastewater infrastructure the same way for hundreds of years. All of that infrastructure put in 30 to 100 years ago. The pipes, the facilities are in dire need of repair and of maintenance. We know that our utilities are chronically underfunded. Those rates are going up. And on the large consumers like buildings, we're coming in. We're actually putting our systems into...
All right, that's too long for an elevator pitch. You get one paragraph.
We are doing on-site water and wastewater treatment in high-density buildings in cities.
Excellent. Okay, Galen, what about you? You didn't expect you to go next, did you? Let's hear it.
Which question?
Yeah, let's just hear that elevator pitch again, just for everyone, because it's Friday.
Okay. We use cutting edge science in biology and microbiology and plant science to clean up the dirtiest water, groundwater, and soil across the country.
So you're kind of like Aaron in the sense that you sell to commercial customers, right?
We sell to a variety of customers, public and commercial. More traction right now with commercial, but there's both in the pipeline. And I'd say our experience has been similar to Aaron's, where we have a lot of slowdown due to COVID, but because we can offer treatment that is much less costly, sometimes an order of magnitude less costly than, say, excavation or pump and treat systems, we have a lot of interest, a lot of new interest in our technologies, but the timelines are, you know, maybe a couple of years out or a year and a half out.
All right, what about you, Mr. Flynn?
We can recycle your wastewater and provide a source of purified potable water for less cost than your city can provide you with municipal water and sewer.
Really? What's the price per acre foot?
The price, well, we think about price per gallons. So we're typically down to 3 cents per gallon right now.
I don't know, me and the water industry, I think acre
Water and sewer combined.
Okay. All right, Derrick, what do you think? Let's hear the pitch again.
Sure. I didn't pitch the first time. So IoTank is building the very first cost-effective solution to measure wastewater levels in an on-site wastewater treatment system like septic tank, grease interceptor, and we're tackling grease interceptors as our first market.
Is it true you're doing kind of a beta test, Galen, in our area at Lake Almaden?
Oh, We have developed a plan for a beta test at Lake Almaden for removing mercury and nutrients, preventing eutrophication in Lake Almaden. But I don't believe we have that one going forward right now. What we do have is a pilot test. I'm sorry?
I heard a rumor. I guess I got it wrong.
We have a pilot test at the Silicon Valley Advanced Purification Center, taking reverse osmosis concentrate and running it through a pilot scale system planted with our phytoremediation plants to remove dissolved metals and nutrients from that water.
Oh, is that thing outside in the back? Is everyone toured this wastewater plant? Is that outside?
Yeah, that's outside in the back, exactly.
Okay. Well, we kind of have a good forum. We have a little bit more time left. What do you guys want to talk about? What's interesting?
Can I jump in real quick here and talk about Galen's project? So I actually work at a place that is a Superfund site for TCE, and they really do nothing to try to clean it up. The techniques that they have that you're using right now do not clean up the Superfund site. So Galen, I got to give you credit. They need new technology in that industry, and they need new approaches to resolving those problems, because as somebody who spends a lot of time on that Superfund site, impacts your health. And if you look historically, there's just no improvement occurring at that site.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, TCE sites are dangerous for a variety of reasons, but one is that vapor actually comes, TCE is a semi-volatile, so it comes up through the ground, can infiltrate into buildings, impact people's health directly. And phytoremediation has been used for decades on TCE, but it had trouble degrading through the degradation products all the way down to non-dangerous things, because the bottom of that chain is vinyl chloride, which is incredibly dangerous too. And the microbes we use also eat vinyl chloride. So we're happy to say that this is a real step forward in treatment. Trees directly can reach down about 40 feet to groundwater, 30, 40 feet. And then we can also pump and treat or pump and sub-irrigate to hit lower down plumes. But
they need you down at Moffett Field. You should go down there.
We have an installation of 1,000 trees at Moffett Field. At the front end is very elevated, and at the tail end of the installation are non-detects for TCE and daughter byproducts.
So, quick question for you, Galen. How come everyone can't do this? What's your secret sauce for this business?
It's really the microbes.
Everyone that question.
Yeah. So for us, it's two things. One, we have some leading phytoremediation experts on our team and in our strategic partners that really have more detailed knowledge of all the plants out there in the world that can be used to degrade and extract heavy metals and other things. But the microbes, we have proprietary use of several microbes that degrade different classes of contaminants, including explosives, chlorinated biphenyls, chlorinated solvents.
So it's these microbes. I mean, there's a lot of knowledge out there. I don't think I could get it on fiber, but a lot of people know. What about you, Derrick? What's your secret sauce?
I mean, we're building a sensor completely from scratch, and it'll be the first of its kind, and we've written a few patents on it already. This would have already been solved if people could solve it. so it's going to be something completely new.
So some kind of technology. You have a physical technology special sauce.
Yep.
Okay, Aaron. What about you?
Yeah, I think there's when we talk about innovation, there's always sort of a focus on disruptive technologies, brand new technologies. We actually see it differently. What we're doing is introducing a new technology, we're shifting regulations, and we're coming up with interesting financing models. So we can go to a developer and say, like the solar model, here's something, little to no money up front. Let us put this in. We'll save you water. We'll help the environment. Something I know you know about, Gary. But I think when it comes to the real estate sector, no one knows anything about water, wastewater. It's an unknown field. And when you come to them and say, look, we know this is scary, we know there's a yuck factor, but let us come in, save you a lot of money. The utility likes what we're doing. We're diversifying the water supply portfolio. We're helping to manage their biosolids. It's just a win-win-win. But again, it's that sort of holy trinity of a new technology, sort of what I call regulatory hacking, and then finance innovation. All three of those together are what sort of give us our advantage.
Yeah, so I think I'd say from my experience, you don't need new technology if you have you can have business model innovation and financing innovation, and that's kind of mostly your play, right?
Well, that and the fact that we also do have new technology. So it's we're kind of hitting all three, but at its core, what we're doing that's different, we'll look at a new market. So San Francisco has regulations in place to do on-site reuse. It took a long time to develop that, but we have a model in place. We're looking at new cities where they don't have those regulations in place already. Dennis mentioned, what's that?
You got to go lobby the cities to say, your waste treatment plant's overflowing. We'll do these point solutions.
Yeah, and we're good at it. I think Dennis before mentioned that my background was construction, which I appreciate, but it's actually in federal politics. So that's the world that I come from. And, I think one thing that's important, especially since there are people on this call who do come from the utility space, is that when it comes to distributed water, wastewater, it's important that we sort of talk about it's not just decentralized versus centralized. It's the two working in tandem to create a sort of a better overall, more resilient system. And, I think the utility should think of us, and I think all of our technologies, as extensions of them. I think there's many places where we're actually going to be saving them a lot of money in their operations, in their maintenance costs, in their repairs by deploying different technologies, in our case, decentralized.
Don't they usually, people in utilities like big, shiny, centralized machines, and they're kind of, hesitant to even get involved in decentralized stuff?
Yeah, they do like that, and because it generally works, but I think we can do things better. We can move a lot more quickly by deploying decentralized, where we're not reliant on underground sewer infrastructure, but we can build above ground, we can move quick, we can use our own capital, save them money. And it's forward thinking. In the case of San Francisco, they're incentivizing technologies like us because there's a concern of, can we supply water in the, for the foreseeable future? But it's not a San Francisco or an American problem. We know that 70% of the world's population will be living in cities by 2050. So the way we're doing things, the status quo won't keep up. So at a certain point, they're going to be forced to start bringing more solutions like ours on board. We're excited to work with the utilities who want to start taking those steps now.
All right. What about you, Michael? What do you think? What about your special spot?
Our approach economics, ultimately economics trump everything and that driver. And in this market, it's really important to understand what are your cost drivers. Is it equipment cost? Is it resupply? Is it cleaning? Or is it just the fact that every once in a while a service person has to come out and do service on that spot, on that site? And that just drives, all your economics. And so reliability becomes your key factor that you want to do. Because this is a commodity. You're selling a commodity. You're selling water. You're selling sewer, and people want it cheap. If you're the cheapest alternative, they're interested. If you're not, they're not interested.
So you're a big believer in kind of the low cost provider is going to win.
Our economic models, it comes down to reliability. If you have to have a maintenance person come out there, you're just never going to have an economic model that works. You got to have really, really reliable systems. Capital costs are very important, but it depends on the size. So big applications, the capital cost really isn't a big player. Small ones, it is a big player. But across the board, it's some maintenance person has to come out there and do maintenance. Your economics are going to go down the toilet, so to speak.
All right, so we're kind of coming towards that cocktail hour, I see. I think so. So does anyone, and it is Friday, does anyone have any, why doesn't everyone go around and give a little wrap up on what they want to tell everyone?
Well, Gary, it's after 5, so why don't we have some fun here? You're an investor. You're talking to a bunch of innovators. What are you excited about in the water industry? What are you looking to invest in?
Well, and I know all 4 of you are going to hate to hear this. It's the capital lightness. Don't you hear that from every single person you talk to? It's like, oh my God, more CapEx equipment to buy, etc. I do like stuff that there's a regulatory mandate for. So if there's, let's say, a cleanup and they got to have a solution, they have to buy it. I actually like the idea of forcing people to do a regulatory solution and having the business model or technology to do it. How about that as an answer?
I accept your answer. Good answer.
All right. Any other questions, comments, things you want to talk about?
So I would just throw in there what we've kind of related to your answer as investment. What do people want to invest into? So according to our economic analysis, the real market is consumer product in this industry. If you can get a product into a person's home, you know, the value of the market turns into hundreds of billions of dollars worldwide, right? If you just look at droughts and how can people respond to droughts, if you can make a wash machine that recycles its water, sell it down at Home Depot, and every time a drought comes around, everybody runs down there and buys it, you're talking, you know, worldwide, just in the Western part, you know, about $150 billion market.
So focus on consumers and figure out a distribution channel. Derrick, are you shaking your head? You agree?
Yeah, I mean, our final goal is eventually to be in septic tanks, which will also be consumer focused.
All right. Galen, did you have a comment on this?
Not exactly on that, but I just wanted to echo something that Aaron said earlier. I really liked how he put forth his company's model as hitting the three technology regulators and financial model. And you know, ours, you know, on reflection is actually similar. We work closely with EPA. We have EPA approval and regulator approval at you know, from the water board and other entities, and we put forth the same model to our customers and potential customers. And I think it's, at least at the agency level and larger development level, it's important to keep those three in mind and design your approach around them.
Isn't there a big problem in Kern County with TCEs in the water down there, especially in some of the disadvantaged communities? Sorry, I said wrap up, and it just hit me. Galen, is that?
I didn't catch what contaminant you were talking about in Kern County.
Did you talk about TCEs before? Nope, that's in my mind. Okay.
Which one?
TCE?
Yes, TCE.
Is that a problem there?
80% of our work right now is in TCE remediation. So,
but there's some customers. Right.
So yeah, we have some lines of attack right now in Kern County and nearby.
All right, I see our boss Dennis has come back on the screen, so I'll shut up right now.
No, I'm just coming on. This has been a very kind of interesting discussion, and actually, I was going to say it. I've seen a few comments here about keep the flow of the conversation going. So I think I think it is worth another, you know, just even a round of where you guys are like, what's 2021 going to look like for you? Let's go reverse alphabetically.
Yeah, because it's Aaron always gets the deal.
Michael Flynn.
Yeah, so that's a big unknown, particularly, you know, with telework and the impact that it would have on the commercial sector, which is a big source of funding for a lot of our small companies that are in the water sector. You know, will people go back to that traditional model of a big office building, or will that not occur? Will we see a less demand for that? Because let's face it, real estate development is a big driver in the distributed water technology development arena.
Yeah, it certainly is. Let's see, we go from M to G.
All right, so we're really gearing up on two fronts, going after oil and gas impacted sites, coal ash residual sites, on one front. And then on the other front, we're polishing and developing our designs for wastewater treatment. We have several offerings for nature-based solutions to nutrient load reductions here in the Bay Area and elsewhere.
I see. And Derrick.
2021 sounds, it's going to be really interesting for us. We're finishing validating our sensors, and we'll have a full deployment of sensors in Tacoma, Washington. And hopefully from there, we'll be able to show all the benefits of how the ecosystem becomes more efficient with our solution and platform. And we'll see what happens after that.
Last but not least, Aaron.
Yeah, it's going to be a big year for us. We were one of the lucky companies that come out of this pandemic with a large financing round. So our team's growing. We have a lot more projects in the pipeline, including doing some of the biggest tech company campuses in the country. So we're doing reuse for them. And I just want to end with one point, which is to say, when it comes, this is building off of the last panel about how do we attract more people into this industry. We're really fortunate that we work in an industry where all of us are sort of in the impact space. I think more so now than ever, people give a shit. People care about what companies are doing. Sorry, I speak very freely. People care about the companies that they're dealing with. People care about the ethics and the morals of companies. And we work in the water space, which everyone cares about. Everyone needs to know about it. And I think there's an opportunity for all of us to frankly make that industry sexier, and we're not selling necessarily solutions, but we're changing a conversation on a topic that no one has a problem with. Everyone wants there to be solutions in water. And I think it's exciting. And I think that's what Epic is going to be doing over the next year. We just secured funding from the Schmidt Family Foundation to basically tell the water story, to tell the water reuse story in cities. So by the middle of next year, get ready for some very exciting stuff coming out of the Epic marketing department.
Well, Gary Kremen, I'd leave it to you for the last word, and especially with your background change too. I was wondering who that guy was in back of you.
Oh, that, I don't know if everyone does so many Zoom meetings, you kind of, want to change your backgrounds consistently. People are bored with all the junk in the back of your house, because I've actually heard that. This is very San Francisco focused. We could change it to, Chris Hakes was talking about our Pacheco, our reservoir project. We'll put that in the background. How about that?
Well, what do you see for Valley Water in 2021 when we keep it at organizational level?
Oh my God, we have so many challenges. Someone talked about we call it the workforce retirement tsunami of, all these great people who've been here for a long time are tired and moving on. And that's bad in a way, because there's tons of knowledge. The good news is there's a lot of good paying jobs available. And I liked whoever said that thing about that 100K job thing. I forgot who said that, but I think I'm going to send people who to think about that. I think now with unemployment rate at 10%, people should look more into the water industry. There's always going to be something in water, and anyone who's been in technology in the Valley knows things can change in 1 year, and their companies could be gone in 24 months. So I'm really for folks investing more time in this industry. We got a lot of challenge. We got a lot of decisions to make, some big capital decisions at Valley Water. We got a couple projects we got to decide what to do and what not to do. And these are projects with a couple $100 million commitments, and everyone wants to do those, and we just can't do everything.